world, in a perfect world, those new construction homes will be more sustainable and more affordable to heat and cool. So I'm going to put up my slides up here, and we'll start off a little bit just with information about me and kind of my history and my background. So I'm a realtor. I sell all electric homes. Um, when me and my family were looking for our first place, or not our first place, but our new place, we really had to go ahead and build our own because there weren't a lot of these homes on the market. So this is the house we bought here, which is just a small ranch, and it really had a lot of problems and a lot of water intrusion. It was really a very inefficient building, and it was too small for me and my family. So we ended up renovating this house. We had the good fortune of being able to afford to renovate this and do it in an all electric way. So today the house is larger and it is super energy efficient. Um, the key that I want to show people is that, this isn't a sacrifice. When we talk about all electric homes, we're really talking about upgrading the indoor air quality, upgrading the comfort, making them more efficient, making them more sustainable, more durable, easier to maintain. So my background, I have been involved with new construction and primarily in the Woodlawn community for the last 10 years, building all electric homes. And many of you who are familiar with what's going on in Woodlawn with a lot of these all electric homes have seen these. There's about 50 of them that have been built over the last 10 years. And these homes are, certainly built a little bit better than your typical new construction home. They don't cost much more to build, but they perform a lot better and their total cost of ownership is less. So the homes that Greenline builds, which is the company I work with, is about 1,600 square feet at the small end to 3,300 square feet. So they're all different sizes. I love showing this slide because it really shows, what the rooftops of these homes look like. We have a couple homes here that are under construction. You see the solar panels, the building wrap. Move to my next slide here. So, most folks who are looking for a home, they don't want to give up anything. And when we talk about, buying a home, we think about, being comfortable, having a home that is safer, having a home that is healthy. So sustainable homes are all these things. They're library quiet. They take less maintenance. They are more comfortable for the people who live inside because they're better insulated. They're more affordable to heat and cool. So energy is a big part of the home ownership cost equation. And when you can lower that cost as much as possible, it really, really makes the home more affordable. They are safer. They have better indoor air quality. Indoor air quality is becoming something that's in focus right now because all of us are talking about the downsides of having combustion inside our homes. I'm not asking anybody on this call to give up their gas stove, but with new construction, you have the opportunity to upgrade to an induction stove, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. They're built to higher standards. They're not subject to gas price increases. Like typically in the fall, when we hear what the gas rates are going to be, there's a lot of anxiety around that. And these homes that we're looking at here actually generate power on their rooftop in the form of solar energy. And that solar energy is sent to the grid. And when it overproduces, that overproduction comes back to the house during the winter months. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. They're able to offset their energy needs and decarbonize. So most importantly, for the next generation of home buyers and the next generations of residents that are going to live in our neighborhoods, these homes are going to be economically relevant during those times because they're going to be more affordable to heat and cool, and they're going to be decarbonized. So they're going to stop contribute to global warming, which is a big problem for the next generation. A lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today is really related to new construction, but it's important to remember that once we develop a workforce that gets familiar with building this way in new construction, that workforce is in our neighborhoods, in our communities, and will help us retrofit the existing housing stock over the next decades to come. Here's a little cutaway of one of these ultra efficient homes. It's see here on the rooftop, some solar cells that absorb energy from the sun, create photovoltaic energy. This energy Typically, we're overproducing power March through October on these homes. We're sending that extra power back to the grid, effectively turning your meter backwards. The grid sends us a statement every month, just like you get a utility bill. It'll say on there how much net power we gave the grid during those months. We're not using a ton of power during the summer because we're cooling the houses, and the days are super long and they're usually sunny. And when you have a warm, sunny day, you can generate a lot of power with solar. So we're overproducing those months. And then October through March, we take back the power that we've sent to the grid, and we get that power back rate free because we gave it to the grid at a different point, kilowatt for kilowatt. Induction cooking is one of the biggest transition points for consumers. People have to, I think there's a lot of emotional attachment to gas cooking. If you've been cooking with gas for a long time, you feed your family with this, you're used to cooking your family recipes with this. And it's really, really challenging, I think, for some people to think about moving to an electric cooking scenario. The things I try to remind people is that induction is an upgrade from gas. You get more control. You get a safer cooking experience. It's easier to clean. It's capable of boiling water 3 times faster and leaving things simmer for longer without attention. It's not your electric cooktop that everybody's used to. We call that the big red cooktop that gets red hot. Induction cooktops actually don't get hot at all. They use electromagnetic waves. So what they do is they move power into the cookware, and the only thing getting hot on the cooktop is the cooking vessel itself. And that makes it ultra efficient. Most induction cooktops run at 95% efficiency, which means that 95% of the power that you're sending to the range is actually being used for the cooking process. Most gas cooktops operate about 38% efficiency. So what's happening there is you're combusting gas that you're paying for, and 38% of the energy that comes from that combustion process is actually going towards the cooking process. 62% of the energy that's being released from that combustion is heating up heating up the room, going up the hood. It's actually not being used in the cooking process. So it's a very inefficient process. The other thing we have to do in our homes with gas is heat and cool. We have to heat our homes. So most people are used to having a central air conditioner. And so if we look here in the photo on the bottom right is a big condenser. This is a cold climate heat pump by Mitsubishi. So what a heat pump does is it's basically an air conditioner. In the summertime, it takes heat from inside your home and moves it to the outside, just like your central air conditioner does. Unlike your central air conditioner, which takes the entire fall, winter, and spring off to not do anything but depreciate in your yard, a heat pump simply reverses its cycle and actually takes heat from the outside and moves it into your building. This system here, and if you look at the photo here, there's snow on the ground outside. It's still operating. What it's doing is it's taking heat from cold air, which can be done, and moves that heat into the building. This big gray unit here would replace a furnace and moves into traditional ductwork. There's other ways of delivering heat, like this wall-mounted unit here. Some people have seen that, especially if you travel a lot overseas. This is a very common heating delivery system in Asia and a lot of parts of Europe. And then there's other methods like mini duct systems up here. The heat pumps are super efficient. They operate at over 300% efficiency. So most of us are used to our furnace having an 80% efficient furnace or a 90% efficient furnace. 90% is considered good for a gas furnace. Heat pumps operate at over 300%. They take 1 watt of electricity and they move the equivalent 3 to 3.5 watts of heat from one location to another. So heat pumps are definitely the way the HVAC industry is going, and we're seeing a lot of companies, Carrier, Trane, American Standard, that make furnaces start to pivot and transition to heat pumps because of the efficiency that they operate out of. It obviously also gets rid of gas as a fuel because heat pumps run on electricity. And so, you can start to look at your gas bill and say, well, how much do I get charged to just pay to have a gas line in my building? And that, in a lot of cases, is over $50 in our region per month if you use zero therms. So being able to switch your heating away from gas to electricity allows you to get rid of that base charge. And then if you can move to a more efficient heating system from a 80 or 90% efficient heating system to a 300% efficient heating system, you actually save energy there as well. Heat pumps are very reliable. The house I'm in now is heated and cooled by a heat pump. We've been building these houses for over 10 years at this point, and our owners really do enjoy having these systems. They take less maintenance even than a furnace because there's no burners or anything like that to worry about. They're very quiet and they're very safe. There's obviously no carbon monoxide hazard with this unit because there's no combustion happening in the unit. Here, sorry, bumped a couple slides up. There we go. Domestic hot water. So another thing we need to do with gas typically is make hot water. So most people have a hot water heater that is effectively a giant tea kettle. It's got a burner on the bottom, tank on top. Usually that tank is 40 or 50 gallons. Typically costs somewhere between 250 if you have a really efficient one per year to upwards of $400 a year to operate. This is a hybrid heat pump water heater. It's a little bit of a mouthful. It also uses a heat pump to take existing heat from inside the ambient air of the building and move it into the tank. By heating water in this way, it uses far less, it costs far less to run. This unit here is rated $104 a year versus maybe $200 a year for the most efficient gas unit you could buy. That's the same size. And the wonderful thing about a heat pump is they're far safer, right? There's no combustion happening in this unit. So there's no possibility, again, of carbon monoxide. There's no byproducts coming off the combustion. And obviously you get rid of gas again. So you got another reason to not have that gas pump. Next slide. So another thing we do when we're using gas in our homes is dry our clothes. This system here is a condensing dryer. So what it does is it actually takes heat from inside the room, moves that heat into the dryer itself, and it dehumidifies your clothes. So instead of exhausting that heat to the outside, what it does is it takes that now warm air that's inside the dryer, that warm air is releasing the moisture in your clothes. That warm air then is cycled over a cold coil, a refrigerant coil, that actually is causing condensate to come off that air, dries that hot air, and pumps that condensate into the plumbing system. So as a result, condensing heat pump dryers, which are basically dehumidifying your clothes instead of trying to cook them, they're far safer and they use about 30% of the energy of a typical dryer. So we build a lot of our homes when we're building new construction homes now, we build them super tight and high performance homes that are built to a really high energy standard are airtight. So we're actually testing these buildings to make sure that they don't have any air leaks. So from a comfort perspective, that means you have no drafts, and that means you have, no outdoor air pollution coming into the house, no pollen. I know it's tree pollen season, so those of you who have allergies, I'm sure you're aware of that. Keeping that pollen out of the house is helpful to people with allergies, but you still need fresh air. So we use energy recovery ventilators or ERVs for this process. It's a great system. Simply takes fresh air from the outside, brings it over a filter. So this filter can remove a bunch of different things depending on the filter you choose. You can remove pollen, you can remove wildfire smoke, all those things from the outside air. Bring that fresh, clean air into the building. You take a little bit of stale air from the HVAC system that comes through this coil as well, and you transfer the heat from one airstream, from the outgoing airstream to the incoming airstream. So it's like having an open window all year round without an energy penalty, without an allergy penalty, without a pollution penalty. So ERVs are becoming more common in new construction houses as they become tighter. When we talk about retrofitting in the future and we make our existing homes tighter, this is going to be something that gets added, a new appliance that gets added to a home. It's a very simple appliance, uses very little power, and it's very efficient. These systems aren't very expensive, but they are really, really integral to make sure you have good indoor air quality when you make your house tighter. Think of them as lungs for your house. So once you've moved your cooking to electricity, and once you've moved your gas to electricity, your heating to electricity, and once you've moved your dryer to electricity and your water heater to electricity, you don't really have gas left in your house. And, for that matter, you start to know what your load is, how much energy you need to actually fuel your home. And so what we're looking at here is some rooftops of different buildings. And so these solar arrays are sized to meet the needs of their houses. And so these houses are described as net zero houses. So they produce as much power as they're going to use during a given year. And solar has been around for about 60 years now. It's not a new technology. I think when we think of solar, we all want to think it's a little bit novel, but you got to remember the first space station that was put into space is literally powered by solar, and there's a bunch of astronauts up there that their lives depend on that power. So we know it's reliable. We know it's very, very durable tech. I want to make sure that I put this out there. This is a win-win-win, right? The consumer gets a more affordable, safer, comfortable, and durable home. So if we eliminate gas from buildings and we move to electricity, the consumer wins. The home builder wins. If home builders transition to building gas homes to electric homes, they become more competitive because they are giving that consumer that advantage. And so they tend to have better demand, shorter market times. They tend to sell for a little bit more. They also make those builders eligible for rebates and incentives from the federal government. The Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA, is really encouraging the industry to transition. And I'm going to let Ryan talk a little bit about that later in this program. The community gets a new home that has lower carbon footprint and is more resilient to energy cost fluctuations. So that's a really critical thing. I mean, if you think about the amount of vacant lots that exist in some of our communities, and you imagine a world where the homes that are built on those lots are powered by clean and cheap energy. That is a brilliant future that really, really offers that neighborhood a competitive advantage over neighborhoods that currently are more developed. So the way I see the next 10, 20 years playing out, if we employ a strategy like this in a lot of our Chicago communities, we're really going to end up improving those communities beyond what our current Chicago looks like. I wanted to share one more slide with you, which is this is a home energy rating certificate. So those of you who are coming out to the building tour tonight, you guys are going to get to see one of these net zero homes in action. So this yellow house here in the middle is it's a new construction home. This is in West Woodlawn. It's at 6446 South Rhodes. And this home has a HERS score of -50. So what does that mean? That means this home produces roughly 50% more power than it actually will use. And so not only can you power your life in this home, you can heat and cool it, you can dry your clothes, you can cook your food, but you can have some energy left over to charge your car. So when we start thinking about what this cheap, clean energy future looks like, this is what it looks like. And if we can do this in the southwest quadrant of Woodlawn, I submit that this can happen everywhere in Chicago. And so having this vision of a cheap and clean energy future is something I'm trying to leave you guys with today. So this is science too. So anybody who believes that this hasn't been engineered, these homes are absolutely, there are engineers involved in all steps of the design process. It's one of the things that makes these homes very different than an existing home is there's just more thought that goes into the design of the property itself. We break up the energy usage of this home by heating, cooling, hot water, the lights and appliances. Service charges are obviously a part of the cost. And then in this case, there's power generation as well. And a -50 HERS score, I believe, is a record. I have not seen one that low in Cook County previously. But all the stats of this house are actually here on this certificate. And Jordan, I'll drop a copy of these slides. I'll drop a PDF into the chat. So if anybody wants a copy of them, they can have them there. So that's all I have for you. So I'm going to turn this back over to Jordan.
Awesome. Thank you, Wayne. That was a wealth of information. As he mentioned, we will have an open house tour tonight. The address is 6444 South Rose, is where we will begin. Look for that to kick off promptly at 6 p.m. And as we mentioned earlier, please hold your questions to the end, and it would even help if you type it into the chat. And with that being said, we are going to bring up our next guest, the energy efficiency team from ComEd, featuring Gillespie Taylor, Phil Halliburton, and Catherine Winkleman. Please come up and share your presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gillespie Taylor. I'm the Senior Program Manager for MDI. And today, what I'm going to speak about, I'm also online with the entire energy efficiency team with ComEd. We're part of the Clean Energy Solutions team overall. But we're going to get into energy efficiency. I'm going to talk about MDI, which stands for Market Development Initiative. Next slide. Again, here we are. This is myself, Gillespie Taylor, over MDI. I'm with Catherine Winkleman, Small Business, and Phil Halliburton, Residential Offerings. Now, overview of MDI, which again, Market Development Initiative, but we utilize the term MDI. So you're going to hear me say MDI throughout the presentation a lot. MDI. As part of ComEd's energy efficiency program, the MDI reflects our deep commitment to the diverse communities we serve. We aim to inspire exploration of the endless possibilities that the energy efficiency creates, from cutting-edge job creation to local business development. Clean energy provides the keys to building a prosperous future together. Next slide. Within clean energy, within MDI, we have 4 areas of focus. Focus on training, focus on access to resources, focus on tailored support, and focus on collaborations. I'm going to go deep dive in each one briefly. So focus on training is where we're working with individuals who are either new or have some experience within the energy efficiency space, where we're assisting them in obtaining certifications for career opportunities, that with these certifications, they have the ability to leverage and scale their careers. Focus on access to resources is our way of assisting diverse businesses with obtaining the proper certifications, implementing and placing them within a network of other diversified businesses whom prime contractors are searching to potentially offer some type of subcontracting opportunity, maybe just a partnership agreement as well. Now, our focus on tailored support is that's where we would like to take some of the individuals who were a part of either the newcomer cohort, as you see under focus on training, or the skill cohort, and we can place them with companies who are service providers, who are energy efficiency service providers. So it's from the ground up. We want to help individuals become aware of the energy efficiency space, help them obtain their certifications, help them find placement with businesses who are working within the energy efficiency space or looking to work within the energy efficiency space. And then the next step would be to implement them as service providers within the energy efficiency space. Our last but least is focus on collaboration, which is what we're doing now with yourself, Jordan Bastard, and the GE Chamber, right? The Greater Englewood Chamber of Commerce, where we're working with community-based organizations who are stakeholders within the community who have a large network to gain and to spread awareness and gain individuals and businesses and gain the support of individuals and businesses. Therefore, we can assist them with scaling their business and growing their career as well. Next slide. Now I'm going to pass it over to Catherine Winkleman, small business.
Thank you. I'm Catherine Winkleman. I do outreach for the small business offering. We can go to the next slide. The incentives for the ComEd energy efficiency programs are funded by customers. If you look at your ComEd bill, it says energy efficiency programs, and that is where the incentives come from. The small business offering has eligible customers, which you can find on your bill. It's for private and public sector of a peak demand of 400 or less. There's a closed network of 76 professional, qualified, trained, and approved energy efficiency service providers or contractors. These contractors do no-cost energy efficiency assessments. The proposals that they provide and the incentives will typically cover between 50 and 75% of the project cost, depending on what you have. Equipment categories include indoor and outdoor lighting, refrigeration measures, HVAC, compressed air, building envelope. If you are a contractor and you're interested in potentially joining the closed network, you can complete a request for a quotation by emailing Anthony Romano. We do this at the end of the year and then sometimes throughout. His email is listed at the bottom. And next slide. Common business energy efficiency project hurdles: lack of funding or upfront cost being too high, difficulty navigating program or offering details, uncertainty with project savings, project timelines and return on investment, lack of staff time, bandwidth, or expertise, internal decision-making process, and prioritizing energy efficiency amongst competing needs. So far, since 2018, the small business offering has completed 89 projects in the Inglewood area, and that is totaling 2.7 gigawatt hours and over $500,000 in incentives. Next slide. For the small business process, so there are several ways you can start. You can contact me. My information will be at the end, phone call or email. I would connect you with a contractor that would meet your needs. You can go on the ComEd website for small biz and put in your account information, and a contractor will reach out to you. And at the end of the slide, we also have a QR code that will take you right to that process. Once we get a contractor, they will do a no-cost assessment of your facility to identify your energy efficiency existing equipment that can be upgraded. They will provide you with a proposal, and you will review the recommended equipment upgrades that are available with the ComEd incentives. You would make any adjustments with your contractor to the proposal. We would then move forward with a pre-application that requires a signature. Once funding is approved and reserved, the contractor will install your equipment. Upon completion, we want to verify that everything is installed and you are satisfied. You will then complete a signature at the end on the final, and the contractor would get that incentive money to pay for the remaining project cost. Next slide. We have a public sector promotional campaign that is going on until the end of May or until funds are reserved. This is an additional 15% in incentives, and this can be combined with additional offers if you qualify. Projects are capped at 10,000 per customer account, or 20,000 if you are stacking the campaigns. And the next slide is the additional 15% additional incentives for select communities. And this is going to May 31st as well, or until funds are reserved. And the same with the project caps at $10,000 in incentives, or 20 if you are stacking. And that concludes the small business. Thank you. And I will pass it on to Phil.
So good afternoon, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. All right. So my name is Phil Halliburton. I am the manager for our residential journey coordination team here at ComEd in our residential energy efficiency group. I just want to talk to you about a few programs that we have on the residential side today. Next slide, please. So our home energy savings program is a program that allows customers the opportunity to reduce their usage and get free energy assessments that includes free and discounted products to their home. Next slide, please. This can be accessed, the information for that can be accessed through our website, comed.com/assessments. This is a program that we do jointly with the gas utilities in our service territory here in Illinois. So within the suburban areas, Nicor Gas, and then Peoples and North Shore Gas also. So the assessment may be an in-home, virtual, or a self-assessment, depending on the availability and eligibility of the customer. During the assessment, we'll identify different ways for you to be able to save energy and money through your home. Customers that do qualify and get scheduled for an in-home assessment will receive free and discounted products that are installed that day. Customers that do the virtual or the self-assessment will have the free and discounted products delivered to their home, and we'll be able to do the install through self-installation. There'll be instructions included with the package that gives you that information. In addition for both, the in-home and virtual assessments, you'll also receive a personalized report that summarizes the results of the assessment that was done in your home. The report will include information about your home's energy efficiency status, expected savings amounts from installing the products, and identify additional ways that you may be able to save. Also for the HES program, we do have an additional piece for our income qualified customers where their homes will be evaluated for additional weatherization improvements. Qualifying customers must meet a specific criteria to qualify for the eligibility, but the weatherization improvements typically include insulating and air sealing your attic, foundations, walls, ducts, and these can help reduce your energy waste up to 20% and lower your energy cost and and save energy on your home. Customers can get started by calling 1-855-433-2700. There's a screening process that you will go through. It's like a small screening process we'll go through just to make sure and see which ones you qualify for. Next, we also do offer rebates and discounts. The company, that's the link there, comed.com/rebates, allows you to go and get rebates and discounts on energy efficiency appliances and home products. There's also discounts on upgrading your heating and cooling system that can boost your energy efficiency. And you heard a number of those products in the earlier presentation before ours. We also do have, again, some income eligible rebates that offer deeper discounts and higher rebates off energy efficiency appliances and home products to customers that qualify. And last, we do on that same site have also information about heat pumps, the basics. You know, there are a lot of customers that may not understand what a heat pump is, how it works. We heard a great presentation today, but it also gives you some additional information about heat pumps. And then, keep on. And no, go right down, sorry. And then so this is also talks about the discounts. When you go into any of our retailers, you'll also see this lower price sticker. So when you go into like a Home Depot, Lowe's, or any of the participating retailers that participate in our discount program, you will see that sticker there that shows that the price has already been discounted for the product and you'll be getting the lower price. And these just talks about, you know, some of the incentive amounts that you can get for those specific heating and cooling discounts that we offer. The air source heat pumps, the duct mini splits, certain things like that, including our geothermal heat pumps. If customers are interested in learning more about those products, they can go to the comed.com/homehc website. And then lastly, I just want to do a plug for our My Account page. And so for My Account, you know, this is our website that really helps customers to be able to understand how their account works, to be able to find ways to do everything from pay bills, to track their usage, to get alerts for storms, and a number of different options. To register, it just takes 3 to 5 minutes. It's both for residential and commercial customers. And we do encourage our customers to definitely take advantage of that option. And that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, team. Gillespie, Catherine, and Phil. If there are any small business owners or contractors, please leave your information in the chat so we can connect you with ComEd potentially. And with that being said, moving things along, we're going to have Ryan Wilmington come up from the Illinois Green Alliance to talk about key policies that we should know. So, Ryan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jordan, for bringing together this great group. Let me just get my slides going, and then I'll tell you a little bit about us at Illinois Green Alliance. So we are a member-driven nonprofit working in the building sustainability space. What that means is we work with architects, engineers, and other building professionals and owners to figure out how we can help make buildings more sustainable. And we do that through a series of education events. We work to remove barriers towards achieving sustainability. And we also advocate for green policy, which is the basis of most of my work and what I'm going to share with you today. And we are lucky to be in a very good moment for building sustainability policy right now with movement at the state, federal, and local level. With the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act being passed a few years ago at this point, being the most progressive and advanced state climate bill in the nation. The city of Chicago recently released a report on how to decarbonize the building stock in the city, and the federal government passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which has put billions of dollars towards green energy and infrastructure. So one of the programs that I wanted to highlight is the Climate Equitable Jobs Act workforce development programs. So this is going to be a major component of it, getting the clean workforce ready to take advantage of all of these funds. So the Climate Equitable Jobs Act is going to fund clean jobs workforce hubs in the city as well as across the state, as well as work with contractors and fund support programs for this advancing technology. And the really cool thing about it is that this job training program is being done in an equitable way. 3 of these training facilities will be located in Chicago on the southwest and south side. So we are making sure that the benefits of green technology and the green jobs are going into disadvantaged communities. And that's not all. The city of Chicago has put together a very great ordinance, in my opinion, to make sure that new buildings in the city go green. So Wayne earlier talked about how great all electric buildings are. So I don't have to convince you of that. But what this policy, the Clean and Affordable Buildings ordinance, would do would effectively make that the standard for the city of Chicago instead of the exception. So what this ordinance would do would ban harmful emissions in new construction, pushing developers to use low carbon energy systems like electric, geothermal, or push them towards high efficiency gas systems. And the other thing to note here is that it only is going to affect new construction, not existing homeowners. But this gives us an opportunity to make sure that clean workforce develops. We get to work the kinks out and stop the bleeding, in a sense, addressing Chicago's climate emissions. We know that 68% of Chicago's greenhouse gas emissions come from the building sector. So if we're going to address climate change, it has to involve the building sector. And for us to be able to do that effectively, we need to stop putting inefficient technologies into new buildings. And Wayne talked again about a lot about why all electric buildings are fantastic, but I just want to go over a couple great points about why we are pushing for this. First and foremost, we know that natural gas is harmful and that over 21% of childhood asthma cases in the state of Illinois are directly linked to gas stoves, as well as the chemicals in these emissions being linked to cancers like leukemia. And additionally, we know that natural gas is placing a burden on our most vulnerable communities, with over 25% of Chicagoans being behind on their natural gas bills while rates continue to rise. And even though Cabo only addresses new construction, the city has taken steps to address existing buildings with a brand new program the city just launched a couple of weeks ago that I'm really excited to share with you, Green Home Chicago. This program sets aside $12 million to fully fund all electric home renovations for low-income communities. So this program is available to homeowners who live in owner-occupied 1 to 4 unit buildings and earn up to 80% of the area median income. And people who register and get accepted into this program will have members from the city partners do a home energy inspection, come up with a plan to decarbonize their home, fully fund insulation, weatherization, appliances, and possibly green energy technology. So this program is opening up in a couple of weeks, and we are really trying to do our best to get it out there and make sure this program has a great impact on the city of Chicago. But that's not all. On the state level, we have seen hundreds of millions of dollars coming in to fund equitable green technologies. And just earlier last week, Illinois just got announced as the recipient for $156 million in the Solar for All program. And earlier in this month, it was announced that the state is getting over $100 million for other clean energy investments. All of this is going through the state Climate Bank, which is another great Climate and Equitable Jobs Act program. And in the single year since this program has launched, it has invested over $600 million in green energy and technology, with over half of that being directed towards low-income communities. So especially with this Solar for All program, it provides access to low-income communities for solar technology. So I'd urge you to go check out the Illinois Solar for All and Climate Bank resources there. And the other thing we know at Illinois Green Alliance is that you can pass fantastic policy, but it doesn't matter if it's not implementable. And we also know that things get messy and complicated when talking about highly technical or things like buildings and building science. And it's confusing for people who work in this field every single day. So it's extra challenging for building owners or business owners who don't do that every day and just want to learn about how they can access some of this federal funding or make their building more sustainable, which is why Illinois Green Alliance launched our newest project, the Building Energy Resource Hub, which is a one-stop shop for understanding all of these different technologies, finance pathways, accessing service providers, figuring out how other people did projects like these and more. So the Building Energy Resource Hub is going to be a great resource, and we're already seeing this connect with policy. Recently, a church received an Illinois Solar for All grant, and but the problem was that it was backloaded. So meaning that the church would not receive funding until after the solar system was installed, and they did not have the money or the knowledge to access financing resources for it. But luckily, we were able to help them through the hub to access a bridge grant through the Illinois Climate Bank. So instead of seeing this project stall or go flat, the church was able to continue and move forward. So that's the type of impact we envision with the Building Energy Resource Hub. And the other Illinois Green Alliance program that I want to highlight is the Illinois Green Schools Project. And this is a volunteer-led initiative where students, teachers, and staff form to implement low to no cost sustainable practices in their school. So this program has reached over 50 schools, including CPS and other schools across the state. And we have had a massive impact on just educating and engaging students with sustainability. So you can look, we've done a variety of different projects ranging from composting to community gardening, waste audits, as well as looking into energy use. So you can find that and as well as the Building Energy Resource Hub, more about our policy work, education programs on our website. And, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Ryan. It's phenomenal. Let's get our next speaker up here. Karen, if you could come join us. Karen is from the Citizens Utility Board, and she'll be talking about the impact from the consumer lens. So Karen, please come up and share your slides.
Hi there. I hope everyone can see this. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Karen Tolentino, and I am the Clean Energy Outreach and Communications Coordinator for CUB. I also handle the Spanish side of things. And today we're going to be diving into energy efficiency tips, some great programs that you could take advantage of, and so forth. So just a little bit about us, who we are. We're the Citizens Utility Board. We're a nonprofit organization in Illinois, and we represent the interests of utility consumers. We were founded in 1984, and we serve as a watchdog for consumers. Essentially, we advocate for fair and affordable utility rates, cleaner energy options, and improved services from utility companies. We do a lot of outreach, such as events like these. We conduct consumer education, about 400 events a year. We have a lot of great media and publications. We have a bunch of fact sheets that simplify very hefty topics into 1 or 2 pagers. We also have a hotline where you can call if you have questions about your utility services. You can even send us your bill through this email here, ubc@citizensutilityboard.org. We could review your bill and basically have a bill analysis with you, looking for ways in which you can save money and maybe enroll in some programs. And we're going to get started talking quickly about some programs. The first one is the Illinois Solar for All program. So this is an income eligible program, more for people who want to install solar panels on their home. And this is a great program because it requires no down payment and savings guaranteed. It's basically structured as a lease in most cases, but companies that offer it are required to offer no money down and 50% savings on the energy that is generated by the solar panels. So this is the only case where a lease is your best bet, but that's because it's part of a state program that we really recommend that everyone takes advantage of. And here we have the qualifications, the income qualifications. So $83,000 for a family of 4 in the Chicago area. And if you are currently renting or are not able to install solar panels on your home for whatever reason, community solar is also a great option. It's still under the Illinois Solar for All program, and this is basically a subscription that is based on your average electricity usage. Each month, this subscription produces electricity, and just a reminder, you will not need to install any type of solar panel. This is just merely a subscription from a local community solar garden that is off-site. So you produce electricity through your subscription. The community solar company reports those kilowatt hours to your utility, and therefore you receive credits on your bill. Current offers are between 10 and 20% on the supply portion of your bill. However, my coworker just signed up for community solar, and he's actually saving 40% on the supply price. So there are good deals out there. Make sure you stay on top of that. And again, all these programs, I'm going to be sending the fact sheets that Cub writes in the chat after I finish my presentation. They're very simple fact sheets. It just breaks it down, main points and next steps to sign up. Moving on to energy efficiency tips. You may hear about all these programs, but want to do something maybe yourself in your home, like right now, today, tomorrow. And I'm here to give you some tips on that. So here at Cub, we always like to say that the cheapest and the cleanest energy is the one that you don't use. So something that we want to alert our consumers about is vampire or ghost energy. So this is basically, for example, I bet when you woke up today in the morning, you disconnected your phone from the wall charger, but left the wall charger connected. And I'm guilty of this too. I do it pretty often. But essentially, this is all electricity that is still being consumed. Although it is not much, if everything in your home is connected when not in use, for example, the TV, the toaster, the Xbox, the PS5, it's going to add dollars to your bill. So we always recommend to disconnect everything when it's not in use. And if that's a little hard for you, you can utilize advanced power strips that can actually turn off with the click of a button, and therefore no more energy is being consumed. And you can actually access these through ComEd's home evaluation assessment that the previous speakers talked about. And again, this is all in the fact sheet that we will be providing after the presentation as well. Another topic of energy efficiency is lighting. We want you to turn all the lights off in the room when you're not using it. It's a myth that you waste more electricity turning on and off the light. You will save if you do that. So don't worry about that. And on the same topic with lighting, we always want to recommend using LED light bulbs. An LED light bulb uses only 10% of the energy that an incandescent light bulb uses, and it lasts 8 to 25 times longer. And if you want to look for a specific brand, we usually recommend Energy Star because they'll last at least 25,000 hours or 22 years before they start to fail. More general energy efficiency tips. We want you, this is something that happens often that our consumers tell us, basically that when they leave their home in the winter, they turn off the heat completely when they're not home in order to save energy to not use their heat. Same thing for the air conditioner. And this is actually going to cost you more money because let's say in the winter, when you come back home, now your house is freezing. So your system is actually going to work overtime to regulate that temperature again. Instead, we want you to adjust your thermostat. And now that summer is coming up, Energy Star recommends that you set your thermostat to 78 degrees when you're at home and maybe raising it a couple more degrees when you're away or at night. However, keep your thermostat at whatever degree that you feel the most comfortable with. You know, saving energy and money may be important to you, but your health is more important. Your comfort is more important on top of that as well. There are other ways to be energy efficient. And basically, just by raising it 7 to 10 degrees for 8 hours from what you usually set it to, let's say that you're someone that sets it to 70 degrees. If you raise it to 77 for 8 hours daily, you'll save at least 10% on your electric bill. Moving on to a couple of programs that we also have fact sheets about. here we have the low income home energy assistance program. This is called LIHEAP. So basically this program allows you to get funding for your gas and electric bills paid directly to the utility company. And they do have income requirements. As you can see here, I have a table with those income requirements if you want to take a look at those. Another great program is from People's Gas called Share the Warmth. If you are eligible, you can receive up to $200 towards your gas bill without it needing to be repaid. So here you can call CETA at 800-571-2332 for the LIHEAP program, and the number down here for People's Gas. I will be sending this information in the chat as well. One last financial assistance program is IWAP program, which is the Illinois Home Weatherization Assistance Program, and this works under LIHEAP. So basically, it provides utility customers with weatherization services for their homes. It's also income eligible, but work may include air sealing, attic and wall insulation, HVAC repair or replacement, and so much more. So if you're interested in making some energy efficiency upgrades in your home, weatherizing your home so it could be more efficient, that will in turn save money on your bills. You can call this number or check out the fact sheet that I'll be sending with all that information on how to apply. And that is the end of my presentation. We offer so much more information. Feel free to write down my email, snap a picture of this. If you want to follow up with me about any program, any question related to your utility services, feel free to email me. I am very active on that email. Also, check out our website for so many more fact sheets as well, more information, how to make the right decisions, how to read your bill, and some pre-recorded webinars about such topics as well. And with that being said, thank you for having me here, and we're going to move on to the next part of the webinar.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Karen. Now we're going to open the floor up. If there are any questions before we break out of here, we have about 5 or 6 minutes. Feel free to unmute yourself or place your question in the chat. We'll be happy to facilitate that for you. All right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
And this is in regards to getting credits back. So is there a cap on how they calculate the storage or the usage for solar to be able to get the credits back?
I'm just gonna defer to ComEd. They're on the call, but I can maybe help with this. So when we set up a solar array on a rooftop, the owner, if you own those panels, you own the power coming off those panels. And so you enroll in the net metering program at ComEd, which takes a little bit of time. There's some administrative stuff they have to do there to make that work. But then what tends to happen is you get a bill that basically shows how many kilowatts you've used, how many kilowatts you've generated, and the balance of that, the difference of that is effectively what your net metering credit is for that month. And that rolls over. Typically, it's an annual contract. I believe a lot of our houses are March to March or March to April, basically. So it's a 12-month agreement. And if you don't use that power during that 12 months, you lose it. So you really don't have a lot of incentive to put in more than you're going to take back just because you're paying for a solar array that for power you're not going to use. So we do encourage people to, obviously size their solar correctly. As far as like limits on the size of the system, there are some regulatory limits as to how big a solar array can be on a residential home. I believe those limits were recently increased a little bit to account for, homes that are using more electricity. And I believe there is some historical data that's part of that as well. So I'll let ComEd kind of add anything else into there.
Oh, I have one more question. So if I own the home and I want the solar panels, is there still a tax incentive, federal tax incentive?
Yeah, there's
What is that
a,
percentage?
sure. So you get a 30% federal tax credit the first year you buy the panels, the year you purchase them. And then Illinois has another program called Solar Renewable Energy Credits. And I'm not an expert in that space, but I can tell you that my observation is it tends to pay for a large chunk of the system over time, over a 15-year period. So, I would say that for the most part, most people who purchase solar see that after about year 5, 6, or 7, that power being produced is just already paid for by the system when you consider all these credits.
Does anyone from ComEd want to chime in before we go to the next question?
Hey, Jordan. So I'll just let you know, I am, the way how we're structured here at ComEd, our energy efficiency team doesn't handle solar. So our EE team actually handles the items we discussed here, but we have a Green Power Connect group that handles and can speak more to the solar piece of it. So unfortunately, I know at least for me on the residential side, I don't have an answer for you right now, but what I can do is take those questions back to our GPC team. And then what I'll do is get those answers over to you. And then if you could pass them on to Cheryl, that would be greatly appreciated. And then Jordan, I apologize. I have another, I know we were scheduled for 1 o'clock. I have another call coming up at 1:15. So I'll try and stay on as long as I can, but I'm going to have to jump shortly.
Yes, that's no problem. We'll do a couple more questions and break out. Stephen, I see you had your hand raised.
Yes, I love the interest in all the solar energy. I was wondering if you guys are also looking into any type of alternate fuels like biofuels, technologies and stuff in these type of energy endeavors, or no?
From a residential development perspective, I think the grid in general, I mean, I'm sure ComEd has been, so ComEd's not actually in the power production business, they're in the power delivery business, right? But a lot of, when you start looking at a lot of energy production in Cook County, it's really interesting how clean a lot of it is, right? We have nuclear, which doesn't have a carbon output necessarily. So then we have wind and we have solar. So in Chicago region, if you switch from gas to electricity, you're switching from a fossil fuel to a non-carbon based fuel for the most part. So it makes a lot of sense from a carbon perspective to switch over. From power generation, I know there's still some fossil fueled like gas plants that are operating on ComEd's network. I think if you go to a city like New York, it's a much larger slice of the power pie than it is in Cook County. It's very regional in that way. From a home perspective, we really got to work with the technology that we have, and things like hydrogen, things like biofuel, these things are probably very viable, ways of generating power, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of technology to be able to use this stuff in the home. So we know electric is something we already have to our houses in the alley. So we're really looking at finding a way to harness that to move our transition forward now instead of maybe 10 or 15 years from now when technology catches up a little bit. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Nope. Okay, everyone. With there being no questions left, we're going to end the session today. Thank you all for coming out. This is our first ever energy efficiency webinar. We will have more. Please join us tonight for the open house tour that is located at 6444 South Rhodes. Wayne Bills will be there giving a fabulous tour. And we'll also have some information from ComEd there as well and some giveaways. So hope to see you there.
Jordan, thank you for doing this. We really appreciate you.
Yes, I want
Jordan.
A huge thank you to all partners. Thank you. Thank you all for taking the time to come and do this with us today. Look forward to doing more in the future. Thank you all. Have a good day.